Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Disney Dust. DisneyDwayne here, ready to talk about another movie, and this time around it will be Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. So I caught the original live-action Maleficent just before catching the sequel to refresh my memory on this reiteration of the tale. Reiteration might even be an inaccurate word because the fairies in this version have their names changed, and Prince Philip did not defeat Maleficent. Also, I started this YouTube channel in 2015, a year after the first Maleficent live action was made, so it's appropriate I kind of review that as well. So in both movies, we do see how there is strife and war between the humans and the fairies. And in both movies, I felt that greed and power was what was driving the humans to want to destroy the fairies. However, that's not enough of a justification. The fairies didn't do any harm to the humans to begin with, their worlds being quite separate, so why all of a sudden is there a need for any war? As great as the battles and the cinematography are, it just doesn't start off with enough of a motivation. I like this second movie better because, unlike the first, it at least addressed some of Maleficent's history. The first, it didn't tell anything about her parents or how she became the leader of the fairies, but here at least we go into the origins of her race, which is the Dark Fey, and we do meet them. Now this is all in the trailer, so it's not actually spoilers. Now, I'm pretty OCD about logic, so thankfully in this movie there wasn't anything too jarring like in the first, where how in the world did she not wake up from having her wings cut by Stefan? That's just, speechless. I'm also really curious about how some of her magic works. Why is she different from the rest of the Dark Fae? Also, how is she able to conjure up that staff that gives her more power? And why does it disintegrate and then come back again? Like, what's the staff? Let's talk about and look at more closely the relationship between the humans and the fairies. In the first movie, you see the fairies being invited to give their blessings to Aurora. How do the humans trust them enough to allow them to do that? Wasn't there distrust to begin with? And in this movie, we also see all the fairies coming to the kingdom for the wedding. Again, not a spoiler, we do see the prince on his knees in the trailer. So how do the humans not react to these fairies coming into the kingdom after the queen has spun all these terrible tales about them? The movie needs to fix inconsistencies like these to make the world more believable and logical. We have a standout newcomer in Jenn Murray playing Gerda, the female sort of military personnel to the queen. Very striking presence on screen, reminding me of Gwendolyn Christie, who plays Captain Phasma, also from Game of Thrones. They could even play mother-daughter. They look very, very similar to me. Queen Ingrid's walk-in closet is to die for. The twisting of the neck of the statue to open the secret doorway to her evil basement creates the right amount of something is amiss about this queen. So that might be a spoiler. Angelina Jolie is immaculately, deliciously evil as Maleficent. Like this, she was born to play this role almost. The voice, the everything is to a T. But as you know, she is not actually evil. She is innately good, and the title is very confusing, Mistress of Evil. But we know from the first movie she tries to reverse the curse on Aurora, also takes care of her, and admits and is sorry for being vengeful and consumed by it. Angelina Jolie puts on quite a bit of a fashion show in her changes of beautiful dresses. Also, finally gets to be a dragon. Let's talk about Prince Philip for a moment. He sports very princely colors, much like the Beast, blue, white, and gold. The thing that disturbs me about the prince is not so much the change of cast. Brenton Thwaites was filming Titans at the time, and I think didn't say yes to this role, or maybe even rejected it because the role is so thin. And while empowering women is a great thing, I felt that this movie disempowered men. Don't forget, Prince Philip was the one of the few princes in that era of Disney princes, with Cinderella's Prince Charming and Snow White's prince, that actually did something to save the day, and here we're taking that away from him. So as much as we don't want women to be wallflowers in movies, let's do the same for men. Now let's move on to race. There were many Asian faces in this movie, but none of them had significant parts. So it's like whenever they had significant exposure, I couldn't help but think it was a token of, a gesture and a nod to China, so this film could meet some sort of criteria for being screened in the country. Could just be my imagination. Then again, I hope it is. And also, when I say Asian, I also meant just Chinese faces. Asians, there's a gamut of Asians like Filipinos, Indians, Malays that are not even represented in this movie. That red battle scene in the air with powder going was much like the land battle in Star Wars in the planet of Crate in the Salt Flats. But it went on for a little bit too long, I felt, leaving me to wonder how they got that much red powder in the first place. I mean, they certainly must have amassed enough toon blooms for the fairies to have known, right? Or even if they were, growing it themselves. I mean, come on, that little basement. Anyhow, that wraps up my review of Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. I'm sure I might have left something out again, but I'm going to put that in the video description if so. I give this movie a 7 out of 10, already a very good score, considering the numerous flaws mentioned. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you like the movie reviews and covers and everything else here, do check them out. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Catch you later in the next episode of Disney Dust, as well as other upcoming videos.